Welcome to the Exec Exchange, 15-minute podcast in which a leader from the water sector shares a story to inspire, inform, and educate other water sector leaders around the globe. My name is Piers Clark, and my guest today is Rebecca West from ReWa in the United States, and we'll be talking about what ReWa is in a few minutes. But the main topic we're going to be covering today is how do you engage with your local community? How do you maintain that license to operate? Rebecca, brilliant to have you with us. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity to be with you today.
I do feel I should say that we are recording this at 9 a.m. in the UK and it is 4 a.m. for you. And I did offer that we could have this a little later in the day, but you said, no, Piers, I'm an early starter. 4 a.m.'s fine.
Well, 4 a.m. may be just a little early for my start time, but I'm a person that once I start, I get rolling. Especially in the role I have with renewable water resources, we have so many engagement opportunities and meetings, and I truly like to show up and it's full engagement until it's time to fall asleep.
Now, tell us, what's the role you play at ReWa? We'll talk about what ReWa is in a minute, but what's the role you play at ReWa and what did you do before you came into this role?
I'm the Chief Executive Officer for ReWa, which stands for Renewable Water Resources. And prior to that, I served as the Chief Operating Officer for not only ReWa, but Spartanburg Water and Greenville Water. And so I've had an opportunity to serve in a leadership role in multiple utilities in the upstate of South Carolina. Where we are in South Carolina, we have a tremendous responsibility for the headwaters of the state. It is the fastest growing state within the United States, and we're at a critical time for water, for infrastructure, and just for change in our state. Costs are not low anywhere in the world at this point in time, so making those investments even more critical today to ensure that they're the right investments at the right cost and certainly supported for the future.
Excellent. So for people who don't know South Carolina very well, help us with the geography. Where are you based? How many people do you serve? What sort of services do you provide?
So South Carolina in and of itself has a little over 6 million people. We're in the southeast part of the United States. For people that are into cars, we're in the area where BMWs are made in the United States. And Renewable Water Resources, or the community that I serve, is located in Greenville. Primarily, we serve 5 counties in the upstate of South Carolina. So if you look at South Carolina, we're in the northwest quadrant of the state, pushed up against the Appalachian Mountains. And also, we just have beautiful waters here, originating from rivers and streams that come from the mountains or adjacent to those areas. And they're very pristine water streams still, despite the growth that we have. So our goal is to keep them pristine and also ensure that we're returning enough water back into the rivers and streams to support the remainder of the state as that travels to the coast.
Excellent. Now, the topic we're going to talk about today is the things you've done at ReWa to engage with the local community. And I like to call it ensuring you've got the license to operate. How do you ensure that the communities you serve understand and value what you're doing, especially as you just outlined when you were in a time when globally there is a cost of living crisis? So walk me through some of the things you've done to engage with your local communities.
Renewable Water Resources used to be called Western Carolina Regional Sewer Authority. We provide used water services to our community. So, of course, no one wants to engage in talking about used water. And so if you think about, we've got some barriers and challenges there. Back in the early 2000s, our board and our leadership said, really, we're not into just wastewater. We're into recovering resources from water that we're provided to clean. And so we changed our name to Renewable Water Resources. And that name change began our engagement, 1, to talk about what that branding change means. 2, to talk about here's this used water that has so much value to it. And so how do we recover and reuse and be sustainably responsible for that? We were engaging in our community before. We started the first Biosolids program in the 80s, but I think our big turning point was that level of engagement. So as we've walked through that change in our utility, we find ourselves today continuing to look for those opportunities for resource recovery. We have a goal of being energy neutral within the next 10 years so that we really push ourselves to try to extract every bit of resource from that. It's also a financial, sustainable strategy because as I look at our operating budget, our energy usage is a strong 30% of our budget, if not more. As I mentioned, we're at the headwaters of many of our rivers and streams in the upstate of South Carolina, so we have very stringent nutrient removal requirement. We do biological removal at a majority of our facilities. With that, we're already recovering nutrients of nitrogen and phosphorus, which makes our biosolids nutrient rich. We have 9 water resource recovery facilities. Of those 9, we have 5 that have anaerobic digestion. So that again is not only a capital intensive, but also with biological phosphorus removal, we use a lot of air, we use a lot of pumping. We have UV disinfection at all of our facilities, so very energy intensive. So as we have this push to talk about energy neutrality, we also realize that our customer base is changing. With this being, as I said, the highest and fastest growing state in the United States, our demographics are completely different than where they were even 10 years ago. So whatever engagement we had with our community to say who we are and what we do, that's changed. We have new customers with new perspectives. We see this struggle of growth versus no growth. We need to accommodate and we want people to move here. But wait a minute, I don't want it to change too much. So putting infrastructure in place, you either decide on the size of the pipe or the size of the system, or you don't. And that's a significant investment that takes several years to move forward. So as we're making those decisions and those investments, engaging in our community to talk about what that cost means, how we make that investment, where we put the newest treatment facility, how we expand our infrastructure because it's going to impact them. We may have to expand the size of our treatment facilities or even build a new one. No one ever wants to have those conversations. So how we engage has really become important for us, and we're finding new and different ways to do that.
So walk me through some of those ways that you're engaging with the community to keep them on board.
We are in the process of building a major upgrade to our collection pipes that collect our wastewater that travels not only through our city of Greenville and Greenville County, but in the northern reaches of our city. So this is going to be close to an $80 million investment by the time we finish. And we are beginning to put the largest pipes that are closest to our treatment plant in place right now. And it's very disruptive. We have walking trails that everyone loves in our community. Our major walking trail is called the Swamp Rabbit Trail, has a little over 2 to 3 million people a year that just walk and bike on this trail and just enjoy it. And it's through the heart of our city. So we're going to host a day at the very popular cafe along the trail. We're going to have some breakfast. We're going to have some coffee. We're going to talk about these big pipes that we're putting in place, the purpose of it, why we have part of the trail closed, some of our challenges of just installing infrastructure that size. They get to see how big it is. It's through a floodplain area, so you've got the challenges of putting pipe in that might pop up and float. How do you build those supports for who gets to work on those pipes in perhaps the next 50 years or make a repair? We're going through a part of the oldest part of the city, so who knows what we find. So we find old landfills, and it's a challenge of going through a city that's been built on top of the sea. What is it we're going to discover today when we dig this hole that we thought was just dirt and kudzu?
Feels to me like there's a reality TV show that you could have a TV crew with you, following it on, digging, what have we found, whatever it might be. Now, a key thing there is you're the chief executive. You're going to be there today. You're going to be glad-handing the general public, explaining to them what this project is going to be. Have I got that right?
Absolutely. And I'll be there with my team of engineers and contractors and communication and finance people because we're talking about how we're financing this project. We have a policy for our capital projects to try to cash fund 50% of it so that we don't continue to add exorbitant debt long term. And so we have a chance to talk about a cool project, to let them see the muck and craziness that we have to do, kind of like the engineering feat, which is fascinating in itself. We get to talk about how we're funding it, how we're being responsible to keep rates low, our strategy for doing that. And it's just a great touch point of different people along the day. We're going to have our political leaders there. We've invited people to join us, and I'm excited because I've got the mayor of a community that's in the northern part of our county that is benefiting from this project. We've got a state representative that will be there today, and our county council chairman of Greenville County that has really been supporting smart infrastructure growth long term. So I've got those audiences there that I get to spend a little time drinking coffee, walking on the trail, looking at the pipes, talking about how we plan for the future for our community. And it's also an opportunity to talk about when you put infrastructure in place like this, you can't snap your fingers and do it overnight. The project inception started 15 years ago. And like I said, the Swamp Rabbit Trail and this cafe is truly like the hip place in our community. So you've got a wide range of people that will be there. And we're just hoping that people that we have no idea we're going to show up will just engage.
The bit I love about this is you've taken what could, in some utilities, be seen as a relatively mundane engineering project that would just be technically running on in the background, and you're turning it into a media event that will engage with the public and hopefully inspire not people just to think, gosh, ReWa's really doing great work, but it actually might inspire the next generation. There'll be people looking at this going, oh, this is what a utility does. Oh, this is what an opportunity might look like. It's brilliant.
And we've had a same level of engagement with our Biosolids program. We were just out about a month ago now, and we're changing how we apply our biosolids. We're moving from a more liquid product to a solid cake product. We were out there with our farmers talking about it. We have one farmer that is so excited about it and standing in the field, watching biosolids fling out of the back out of a manure spreader, saying how great this is, talking to their neighbors. And then listening to that farmer's excitement, because now he's our spokesperson. And being able to hear his story of how this is great and look at how green his farm is, his pasture is, but how it's saving money in this time of challenge for farmers, especially because of the cost of fertilizer and how he couldn't maintain his farm, and how it's also preserving a generational farm that he's going to pass on to his sons. And, it's those types of stories in those days that just make my heart sing. I'm glad we're doing this. We're doing the good fight for biosolids. But to have a farmer tell me that he trusts our product more than fertilizers, PFAS or not, he understands it. And I just think, again, that's how you continue to talk about our business and get support when you have tough roads ahead of talking about what's PFAS and what is the safe level and what does it really mean to the person that's using that product. And we wanted to make sure it was being applied the way he wanted it to be applied. Instead of just go, here's your biosolids, good luck with that. I think we take that extra touch and that extra responsibility and engagement. That's one thing I'm most proud about ReWa for, because we're not afraid to have those tough conversations to continue to get support.
Excellent. Unfortunately, Rebecca, we are running out of time. We always like to finish with a bit of a personal question. What advice would you give someone entering the water sector now, someone going to be working in the sector from now until, say, 2080? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to jump into any aspect of the water sector that appeals to them. There are so many facets to the water industry that's so different than when I first got into the sector. It was kind of like you had this pathway. Well, there's no pathway anymore. That's what I love about the circular water conversation. It's opportunities everywhere. One of the questions I ask people if I'm engaged in the interview process for new people that come to join us at ReWa is when they go swimming, do they dive in or just jump in the deep end or do they wade in? And if a person says, oh, I just jump in the deep end, I'm going to probably hire that person because it's like jump in to get fully immersed. And that's my advice. I mean, there's so much that is available today. As we all talk about, we have so much need for support in our industry from a workforce support. So I think it's truly your oyster. You know what? Pick whatever you want to do, jump in there, engage. And then I like to try to come alongside somebody and then pour as much as I can into them, share experiences, open doors for them, and then swim on, continuing with the swimming analogy, and then help them navigate to where they want to go next. So there's many of us in the water sector that want to pour into new people, share our experiences, share how we can help them move to wherever they want to in the water sector.
You have been listening to The Exec Exchange with me, Piers Clark, and my guest today has been Rebecca West, Chief Executive at ReWa in South Carolina in the United States. We've been talking about engaging with the local community and keeping your license to operate. Thank you to our sponsors. Keep asking questions, keep sharing, and keep safe.